So with our handsome Mr. M, I wanted to work a little bit with some weight behaviors. So weight, unlike the stay, so for example, I'm just going to do a couple find us just to keep him busy while I'm blabbing. So a weight is different than your stay. Stay is, again, where we were working a little bit with him on Tuesday, where he was going to a target mat and then working a bit with staying on that spot, and that's what's creating your reinforcement. So stay, again, though, can happen anywhere. It doesn't have to be on a dog bed or a target of some kind. Though I don't like to do both weights and stays from a target. So I tend to do a stay position on a dog bed or a target of some kind and anywhere else in the environment. And I do weights everywhere except for on the dog bed or target. So with a weight behavior, what you'd be doing is getting your babe into a sitting position, tell them to wait, and then again, max come and have him move out of the position towards you. So this could be a recall word like come, it could be here. If you have a different slogan, let me know. Most folks do tend to use come. So we're gonna get our babe into a sitting position. I'm gonna tell him to wait. And if, let's say, adding movement was too hard, so some distance, I would go ahead and give him again, max come, beautiful. If Mr. M was struggling, remember you wanna think about your 3 Ds. So you're, again, going to have your duration. So how long can Mr. M hold a position or work a certain thing? In the beginning, we might find, ready, sit, that Mr. M, wait, can maybe hold this for 1 second to 5 seconds and then recall him into you. So I know I'm blabbing, so he's just visually seeing the release. In the beginning, your puppies are very visual learners, so they always are. But, oh my goodness, we're doing some nice sneezes. So sneezing real quick means that your dog is really excited and happy with what's going on. So a lot of times you'll hear sneezing and snuffing and some of these lovely little snorts, which I know sounds silly, but when your puppy is playing or excited that you're home or doing other skills. So again, wait. So again, right now, I'm just having him hold back and then max come. I want to make sure, so if Max tends to like to talk, I want to make sure that I'm doing this short enough where I don't get him frustrated. So some puppies, if you're working with that duration, so remember your time frame might be step number 1. If that's going okay from 1 to 5 seconds, awesome. But if maybe your babe is getting a little confused or flustered, you might keep it even shorter. So we might get Mr. M's attention, go right back into a little sitting position, have him wait, take a step if you can. If you couldn't add that step, you could do this right from here and then go max come and then bring him off to the side of you or in front of you. So the benefit of this is you're working first your duration, maybe then also with your, for example, distance. And then your 3rd D would be your distraction levels. So again, we're gonna get Mr. M's attention, get him to do a little wait, have him hold it for a second. So if let's say he's doing pretty well, I might add a step or so to the side and then go max come. The thing you do want to avoid is you don't want to say this over and over as you're walking away, because if your puppy thinks you need to say it 12, 15 times for him to hold it, what happens when you're out of range or you can't be screaming from the restroom to hold back with a wait? So I'm going to tell him to wait. I would have him hold it just for that 1 moment. If your puppy were to break, which means they get up and they wiggle, you would just restart it. Oh, big sneezes. So again, max come. Beautiful. So if your puppy does make a mistake and gets up, no big deal, no worries, you just start again. So you'd regain your puppy's attention, you'd bring them roughly to where you wanted them, get them to go back into a sitting or down position. If sits or downs were really hard for your puppy, you could do this standing if needed. So I'm going to tell him to wait, take a little step away if I can, hold it for a second, and then max come. The thing you also want to avoid is making this all too hard. So you might be working your time frames, your duration, your distances, and your distractions all at once. Remember, we already have, a lot of distractions in the building, and being not at home is enough of a distraction. So I'm going to tell him to wait, take my little step away. If, let's say, this was going amazing, you could, oh my goodness, you could add more time. But if, let's say, he gets a little flustered, I'm going to tell him again to wait. He's like, hold on, lady, I smell something. And there could be something distracting in the air. So I'm going to reset him up, sit, wait, and then again, max come. So if you're finding at times you have to lower the criteria, which means that you might make some of these steps easier, it's going to be better for him to do several really nice, easy reps where it's successful from both ends versus making it so hard that he's failing at any rate. So make sure, again, easy, so it's great for him and easy for us too. Nice, good little check-ins there. So if you're also trying to do this and you're adding movement, What can be difficult for the puppy is you don't want to go ahead and, let's say, for example, you ask for the sit. He's like, hold on, I got to find a good spot for his caboose, he says. Let's say you do that wait, and then you start to back away, and that's when you call him. He's going to think that movement equals come forward. So he did a great job actually holding back, even though I did lower my hand. And I'm going to go max come and feed him for that. So a lot of puppies could do waits, for example, wait before being fed, wait before hopping out of the car, wait before going into, for example, an environment. But remember that if your dog is nervous, the heat just came on. Ready, Max? But if your dog is nervous, the thing that always drives me a little bit bonkers is hearing people telling the dog over and over to sit at the doorway, and the dog is way past their comfort range or threshold. It sometimes can be easier just to walk in and then start working the skills you were hoping. Ready, Max? But let's say, for example, you've been practicing a bit of these weights and it's going really well with your time frame. Oops, there we go. I dropped a piece. He says, thanks, lady. So let's say your time frame is going quite well. So I'm going to get his attention, get a little sit. He says, my brain's melting slightly because he's getting tired. So right now I am lowering him because he's a little bit flustered by the sounds. So if you're sometimes having moments where you have to lower the criteria or go back to the stepping stone beforehand, that's perfectly fine. So we're going to try for just one more little moment where we get a little sit. Yes, I'm going to tell him to wait. I'm going to take a few little steps just for a second. And then max come. So, but I am going to give him a little break from these weights because he is getting a bit tired. So remember that when you're practicing with your pup, a couple reps here and there throughout the day is probably much better than trying to set up a whole moment to train for like 20, 40, 50 minutes. So the puppy's attention spans, even adult dogs, tend to be kind of short. So you may have greater success for both you and your puppy or adult dog to take your time and do a little bit throughout the whole day. Doesn't mean that you can't set up a training session to do a couple extra skills here and there. But if you find that your puppy is starting to get really fatigued and therefore non-responsive, very distractible, barking and getting overwhelmed, then we're not working within the puppy's comfort range, and we're probably making the situation more into a negative setup than a good one. So make sure that your practice stays attainable for both you and him, and that it seems like a great idea to offer these skills and give it a try. So again, wait. I might not go too far. Get them just a couple seconds to rock it, and then max come and feed for that. So, but again, waits could be great for waiting at the doorway as your puppy practices this without the real door. So if going through the doorway is really hard for your puppy, you'd want to work this maybe with a bedroom door or maybe the threshold between the living room and kitchen. Ready, Max? We'll do a little find it. So if, let's say, your babe is, let's say, having a really hard time with the sitting still and then being called, you can do the simpler version, which would be, for example, do a lovely little find it, get him to get distracted, and then from here, go max come, just like we did earlier with the longer leash from Mr. M. So if you're finding sitting still is just too tricky and too trying for him, do a little find it and warm up this way, and then from the distraction, max come, and start building it in that way. So now, even though this seems like a little abridged version, it's easier for Mr. M to be successful than to fail the whole entire setup. So I want to make sure that when we're working him, it seems easy enough where the skill set is attainable. Ready? So we'll get a little sit. We'll tell him to wait, and we'll do one more little wait right here for a second. He's doing some beautiful eye contact, nice little check-ins, max come. But he's getting a little bit slower, so he's getting a little tired. So again, Mr. M did beautiful for his stay for the 2-week session for the doggy day school. If again, you guys aren't sure what the next steps might be, you can always reach out. Again, I'm not saying he has to keep rocking it. I know a few of the students have done several rounds, but again, it's whatever makes sense for you guys. But he really is doing a great job. Definitely check out the resources we had sent along previously, so that way you guys can see, again, other options for practice, because maybe one fits his criteria a little bit better than another option, and then things can be more attainable for him and for you. Of course, I gave him one of the snacks. He says, that's disgusting. Oh, did you want to eat it or roll in it? He's not sure. You did eat it. So, but keep up the great work for Mr. M. He really is coming along really nicely. But definitely remind yourselves to stay within both of your comfort ranges and make sure that, again, he's not well past his threshold while you're trying to work something that he finds difficult. Ready? Max. He's like, there's a really good smell. So we'll give Mr. M a little breather. I'll do a little find it for the handsome guy and call it a day for his practice for now, but really great job.